Has the title for Doctor Who's 2026 Christmas special starring Billie Piper as Rose or the Doctor just been revealed? Well, if it has, it could give us quite a big indication as to the answer to the question I just asked. Who is Billie Piper playing in this episode? Is Carol Ann Ford as Susan coming back? Is David Tennant coming back? I'm not saying it's a great idea or it should happen, but if you've opened the can of worms that, like, Billie Piper's got to be in this episode, it kind of makes an awful lot of sense to bring Tennant back as well. Like, you've got to have the reaction of, oh, whoa, this face is back. But Bad Wolf have set up a new company, as they always do, with a very interesting new name, which is probably going to be the title of next year's episode. But we'll break all that down later in the video, because we also have a new super secret teaser trailer for the War Between the Land and the Sea Doctor Who spin-off that we're going to break down shot by shot. Interestingly, this trailer hasn't been officially released by the BBC, etc., but it's not a leak, because it was one of those things where you had to go through all the breadcrumbs and the hoops and the Easter egg trail to find this little teaser, but then everybody's shared it online now. So, as I say, it's a very exciting trailer. We're going to break that down. We've also got a couple of exciting headlines to go through first, so let's just delve into that. First up, we're going to be taking a look at new comments made by Bonnie Langford. This is in reference to 2026's Christmas special, or at least it's adjacent to that. But Bonnie, just like the rest of us fans, I mean, if you don't want that to happen, let me know in the comments, but Bonnie wants more from Susan. Doctor Who legend Bonnie Langford has shared her hopes that Carol Ann Ford will return as iconic companion Susan Foreman. She talks about actually bumping into Carol Ann Ford during the filming, and she was like sworn to secrecy. But it's one of the biggest shames in maybe Doctor Who history that the return of Susan had to be cut from the reality war. And even then, it didn't really delve into why or what on earth she was doing here, and the fact that the 2026 Christmas special at the moment is possibly shaping up to be the last one for Russell and team. How are they going to wrap up the boss, Susan, all of that jazz in one big bombastic special? I don't know. But in this in-depth interview, Bonnie Langford says a lot of things are left as a tease, aren't they? They drop a little carrot and you go, where are we going with this? And sometimes it doesn't go anywhere, sometimes it goes somewhere much later. I think it should always go somewhere if you're properly dropping little teases or Easter eggs or carrots in this analogy. Carrot juice, I guess. That tease has got to be tied up and lead somewhere. Russell does do this, like he does try his best to tie them up, even if there were clearly a couple of production troubles behind the scenes during season 1 and season 2, which led to multiple rewrites of multiple endings of multiple finales. But this definitely cannot be the last we've seen of Susan. Like, it's the same with the David Tennant thing. She's almost 100% going to be there in 2026's Christmas special, because the BBC is also going to be wanting to bring in as many viewers as possible. Susan for the classic fans, Tennant for the New Who fans, the new Doctor maybe for new fans. It's also funny now that because there's a little bit of distance, there's a little bit of time since season 2, a lot of the actors, including both Carol Ann Ford and Bonnie Langford, are just open about the reshoots and all that, despite the BBC's "it was always the plan." I still find it crazy that Ncuti Gatwa says that in the behind-the-scenes stuff, just like, it was always the plan. It wasn't, like, come on guys. And it's fine to admit. That's okay. This is how TV production runs. I don't know why they have to pretend that this is always where this was heading. She says, so yes, of course there were a couple more scenes which, because of some changes that had to be made, didn't make sense once the original changes have been made. So they obviously had to film something else that went with those changes. It's a shame though. I'd love to have done it, and the bit I did do, I really enjoyed doing. And I love seeing it. I sort of looked as if I was floating in space, and you've still got to find me, grandfather. I'm waiting for that. That is from Carol Ann Ford, so it's gotta happen. I mean, she said Russell talked to her about, oh, you can come back at the premiere of The Star Beast back in 2023. Like, he's teased. I like the analogy of a carrot. He's dropped the carrot. Susan, we've got to see more of her in 2026. Let me know if you agree with that in the comments, or are you scared? You don't want Susan anywhere near a new era of Doctor Who. Just let Classic Who exist in its own bubble, because I know a couple of you out there think that. Before we break down this trailer, we've also got a new article from Empire magazine, which I highly recommend reading. It's a nice little interview with Russell T Davies, where he's talking about the upcoming spin-off, the geopolitical thriller The War Between the Land and the Sea, or The Land Between the War and the Sea, will show. Yeah, I think whoever typed this tweet out has made a mistake there. But it comes along with this picture of Barclay and Salt, played by Russell Tovey, and Gugu and Bartha Raw, which it just confirms, doesn't it? This is The Shape of Water. This is Romeo and Juliet. Sea Devil, human, star-crossed lovers. They're working for opposing sides. Lock in, guys. I also have a little theory that this Salt character, because she is the only Sea Devil we've seen that looks humanoid in the face, like the others have a very distinctive Sea Devil, alien, more fish turtle-like face, whereas she distinctly looks human. Now obviously this could just be a design thing, because if you're trying to do a romance plot, you've got to be able to act like the masks can't really act as well as a human can. You won't elicit the same emotion, so maybe that's why she looks different, but I reckon she might be a Sea Devil human hybrid, so I don't know who was getting busy with a Sea Devil back in the day, but probably someone was. That is a sentence I never expected to say, but here we are. In this article, Russell basically goes on to say that he wants this show to show what the Doctor Who universe is capable of. It's for a more adult audience, and as I've mentioned in prior videos, it's given more and more Children of Earth, Torchwood Children of Earth vibes by the day, which is brilliant, because I genuinely think Torchwood Children of Earth, it's one of those rare sort of little bubbles of sci-fi television that are just near perfect. Like, the stakes, the threat, the resolution, the emotional payoffs from all the characters, it's insane work, and I really, really hope that this can measure up to Torchwood. Russell says as well that it's very 2025 in its bones, and that we even deal with the water companies and their profiteering bosses laughing in our faces. In a series about not water, not a series, in a series about the water, you kinda have to, says Russell. And I agree. I know there will be people on this video commenting, oh, it's political, oh. I think, look, if you're a Doctor Who fan, this is John Pertwee political. Like, this is literally the sort of stuff that would have been done during Classic Who, like look at the Green Death, etc. So I'm not going to be hearing any of your complaints. Here's our teaser trailer. Let's take a look and break it down. It starts with Kate Stewart in what I presume to be like super secret unit underground base bunker type thing, where she says this is a worldwide threat for all branches and divisions of the Unified Intelligence Task Force. We don't know yet whether this is actually going to be like a clip from the show, or I reckon this could just be a promotional thing that they got Gemma Redgrave to film rather than actually being a scene, but it also could be actual footage of the show where it is just, this is Kate's broadcast, everyone from unit tune in. But then we get here our first little glimpse of footage from the show itself. I'm presuming that's a Homo Aqua or a Sea Devil whooshing past the camera. It looks like some sort of big rocky structure has pushed its way out of the ground up into what's probably either a city or a cruise liner boat. You can't quite tell, it's difficult to tell. But here is, I love this redesign so much. I mean, Kate's banging on about turning point in human history, which I also love the vibe of. I love like first encounter stories. I know Doctor Who's had about 5 billion first encounter stories, but like with the Slitheen two-parter in series 1, with this, with Torchwood Children of Earth, there's such like a ramping up of the stakes. It feels so real, so personal. I've always talked about like my favourite Doctor Who is when it feels like I could actually be there. Like, it's the world that we know, the world that we see. Yeah. Sea Devils on top of this rocky structure, which I think they've pushed up out of the ground. Yeah, there, I think Is that out of the Thames? Is that London? I can't quite tell. It's possibly New York or some big American city or some city somewhere else in the world. I assumed if you're going with Doctor Who, it's usually either London or New York if they're trying to appeal to America. But let me know in the comments if you know what city that is. But yeah, here is another look at these sort of underwater structures that are being pushed up. Kate says Aquakind have revealed themselves, which makes me wonder as well, is it not just sea devils? So we're getting some other classic Who water monsters, which there definitely are, and maybe I'm a fake fan, but I can't remember their names. Someone correct me in the comments. But yeah, we've got here like footage from a live stream where you've got all the emoji reactions. There's a fish emoji reaction. I think there is going to be this big dramatic moment in which all Aquakind, all sea devils, push these weird structures up out of the ground, declare, we're here to scrap you humans, you've done our heads in. But no, it looks so cool. Like, the CGI as well, this is the one thing, obviously there's a lot of people celebrating, Disney have gone, the Disney deal's done, Doctor Who's free. Is it? Because this is where the Disney money came in incredibly useful. Like, this looks brilliant. Kate's saying the public will be scared. We then see this guy, who at first I thought was Conrad when I watched it on my phone because it was a smaller screen. It's definitely not Conrad. I think it's just someone else, but if we're going by the narration that Kate's giving, when the human race is scared, they do terrible things. It's this whole idea of like the fight or flight response, and I reckon a lot of humans are going to fight. This guy looks like a doctor or some sort of medical person. He's wearing like medical robes with the gloves as well. He's sneaking something into his pocket. We've seen in preview images before, there's like Homo aqua eggs, which maybe they're kept in a facility here, maybe this human is sort of stealing something that belongs to the Sea Devils, which is one of the reasons they're getting annoyed, but I reckon he'll be a major player in this series, or he will die immediately and he'll just have escalated the conflict into beginning this war between the land and the sea. Here I think it's the same guy in the rain carrying or smuggling something away. Then we have another shot here of humans doing exactly what humans would do if those big sea devil structures burst out of the floor, burst out of the waters, and they were like, we're going to scrap you. They've picked up a gun and they're firing it, presumably at the sea devils, which is only going to up the ante of this war. Kate says it's up to UNIT and that lot to keep the peace. Here we have, I think, is he called General Pierce? I think that's his name. This guy, I mean, I keep saying how I want this series to be like Torchwood Children of Earth. This guy was actually in Torchwood Children of Earth as a UNIT officer. So it's pretty cool universe continuity that he's back here. But yeah, it's up to them to keep the peace. Oh, these shots are so cool. There's sea devils coming out the water, obviously in a bit of a homage to the, I think, 1972, I'm going to assume that's when it came out, original Sea Devil story. Kate's saying it's up to them to negotiate. Now, we know that Barclay, the Russell Tovey character, our main character, ends up becoming one of the negotiators because he develops this relationship with Salt, that Sea Devil person who I'm still convinced is half human, half Sea Devil. But look at that design. It looks so cool. As I say, like this is where the Disney money would have come in very handy. Sea Devil coming out the water, more from Kate. They're forging something right now, 2 floors below me. The Empress Hall is being prepared. Now the Empress Hall, very niche little reference to the Empress Hall, is in the Reality War. Mel sends that video recording to Kate and the gang in UNIT, and she says at the start of it, I'm in the Empress Hall, or I'm in the Empress Building or something, which I think is just the connective tissue weaving this spin-off into like the finale of last season. Obviously there is the big question of like, where's the Doctor through all this? But I won't tell you the title yet, you can wait till the end of the video to find out the title, but we may know where the Doctor is, or where the Doctor isn't, if we know the title of the 2026 Christmas special. Anyway, we have more from this Empress Hall. Probably this is going to be like, she's talking about diplomatic talks, this is probably like in Torchwood Children of Earth, how they had to create that sort of sensory tank for the 456, where they held all of their negotiations. I reckon that's the same sort of vibe that's happening here. Aquakind are going to send an ambassador, then they need to send their ambassador. It's good. The only thing with this teaser is like, Don't give away the entire plot, guys. Don't put it all in the trailers. We've waited so long without really knowing where this goes. But yeah, I reckon most of this is going to be like the big bombastic climax and stakes of episode 1. They can't predict what the coming days will bring. They've got that big pipe going down to the water, to the sewers, unprecedented demands. Is that Russell Tovey's character being shipped into like a little unit jeep, taken somewhere? Maybe that's him becoming the ambassador. No, I don't think it is. I think it's this new character. She looks like she's panicking, so she's probably put in that car, and then there's a sea devil in there going, I'm angry. Or a homo aqua, I should say. Here we've got Russell Tovey's character, Barclay. What I presume the press conferences, the would you call them debates, the negotiations between Aquakind and humankind, or he could be in Parliament purely talking to humans about the negotiations that he had with the Sea Devils. We've obviously seen in that promo image as well, he's got like diving gear on, so he's probably gone to Homo Aqua HQ, talked with them. Now he's probably delivering his findings to the government to try and convince them, don't go to war, listen to what I say, but they're humans. This is going to be a dark story, so they're going to ignore him. Here we have, I'm pretty sure he's called Colonel Pierce, but the same guy from Tortured Children of Earth. It's interesting that he says, well, Kate says, allies and enemies will reveal themselves as we cut to a shot of him. Is that maybe implying that, as I just said, Barclay is going to be like, look, let's not fight them, but the unit people who aren't Kate or the soldiers are going to ignore that advice and go ahead and fight them anyway? Here's another guy who could well be an enemy rather than the Sea Devil. Here we go, the war between the land and the sea will take the sea. Oh, it's always humans, isn't it? Great work, humans. I hope you're proud of yourselves then. Yeah, there we've got Colonel Pierce, Russell Tovey's character, and Salt. And then I think that's them dropping litter from the sky. Obviously humans have polluted the ocean, so this is their revenge. They're taking it back. They're dropping all the litter onto like the land, which it's pretty cool. Here we've got some sort of found footage of a sea devil scrapping a human, which is very cool. This may be my final broadcast. It won't be, Kate. You're too main of a character to die in the series. Although in saying that, Yanto in Tortured Children of Earth, how impactful would it be if Kate, or someone that we know and care for, actually died in this series? Probably won't happen, but there's your teaser trailer, there's your breakdown. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments. Now, what was that title for the 2026 Christmas special? So, the 2026 Christmas special, what is it called, or what do we think it's possibly called? Well, Doctor Who Production News over here on Twitter has rightfully pointed out that Bad Wolf has set up a new company on November 13th. It's called Bad Wolf, brackets TLD, close brackets, LTD. The timing of the creation of this company is right for it to be for the new Doctor Who 2026 Christmas special. The name doesn't necessarily correspond to the title, but it's quite possibly TLD, the L Doctor. The something beginning with L Doctor. Now there's been a lot of suggestions. There's been the Lost Doctor, which we'll talk about the implications of that in a minute. The Last Doctor, that's such a Russell T Davies title. Those are the two strong contenders, but why does Bad Wolf setting up this company even mean that that's the title? Because at the moment this kind of sounds like waffle. Well, every time a Bad Wolf show has been made within recent years, they, about 5 months before proper production begins, set up this small company. We'll explain why in a moment, but they set up a company with the name of the show for just that series, just that product, to make sure they're all insured and it's all fine. Prior examples here, as pointed out on Twitter, have been HDM, which is obviously His Dark Materials, then HDM3, HDM2 for His Dark Materials 2, His Dark Materials 3, Whoniverse 1 for Season 1 of Doctor Who, Whoniverse 2 for Season 2 of Doctor Who, I Hate Susie is IHS, IHS2, I Hate Susie 2, The War Between the Land and the Sea, TWB. Then it goes on and on and on and on and on. But point being, if you look at all of those prior examples, the only time it's not the name of the show is when they've just called it Whoniverse 1 or Whoniverse 2. TLD, The Last Doctor or The Lost Doctor or The Little Doctor, all of these things, that makes the most logical sense here. It's not being called Whoniverse 3, probably because it's a one-off special. And as I say, look at His Dark Materials or any of that, they usually use the same title. It's stated here on Twitter as well that it's common practice in TV and movies nowadays. It allows them to claim tax credits, and in many instances, it's done so that if someone sues, it doesn't bring down the entire company. So if someone were to sue the 2026 Christmas special, it wouldn't attack Bad Wolf as such, it would attack just whatever this new little company's called. As I say, I've seen so many suggestions on Twitter, loads of different titles, some funny, some not so funny, some genuine theories. I mean, let me know in the comments. I will pin the best theory you have on what TLD could stand for if that is the title of the 2026 Christmas special. As I say, I'm putting my money on The Lost Doctor or The Last Doctor. If it's The Lost Doctor, that's probably because, it basically confirms Billie Piper is playing Rose. She is not the Doctor. She will finish that regeneration, and it's Rose who stood there in the TARDIS, and I'm telling you now, if it's the Lost Doctor, Rose will be stood there in the TARDIS, she'll go, "Oh no, where am I? Where's the Doctor? The Doctor's lost." So she'll go to the only other Doctor that we know his current whereabouts of, the 14th Doctor, David Tennant, in London, which, there you go, you get your dramatic reunion of faces. Oh my gosh, you're Rose, oh my gosh, you're the Doctor. And then those two have to hunt down whoever the new Doctor is, and it probably ends as well with the 14th Doctor, merging with whoever to create the new Doctor, which leads us into our new era where Bad Wolf and Russell possibly or probably or maybe step down from the show and make way for a new season with new people. If it's The Last Doctor, that could be quite cool because obviously it'll be like when Russell used the title The Next Doctor. It wasn't actually The Next Doctor, this won't actually be The Last Doctor, but if Russell's sort of going a little bit meta here and playing just like Trial of a Time Lord did back in the day with the sort of reality that the show is under fire, the show may be ending, the fandom's panicking, a title like The Last Doctor would make people think, oh god, is this the last episode of Doctor Who? They'd tune in. That's what this storytelling thing's all about. Keeping the intrigue, keeping the fandom, getting people on board. I think either The Lost Doctor or The Last Doctor are both absolutely banger titles, which would do the job brilliantly. So I'm putting my money on either of those being the case. But as I say, let me know in the comments what title you reckon this could be running with. As ever, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please do remember to like, comment, subscribe, share. You know the drill. Check me out on Patreon if that's your kind of thing. Doctor Who Echoes Destiny, our final fan film, is coming to you very soon. It's coming to you in December. Strap in, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you!
She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.